I've had a load of compliments.
Is that wrapped?
Yeah.
Sick.
Questions, some people just saying that they don't like it on my A7R4 skin. I'm going to be applying a brand new one to this A7 IV, and at the end we'll have a chat about quality, we'll have a chat about price, and why I think that these are a no-brainer. Right, people, I don't know why I said I'll be talking about this later. I will definitely be talking about this during the video because, you know, I don't want to make it super long, and you've heard the saying, 2 birds in 1 stone. So I wasn't going to mention any names, but there is one in particular, and that name is ALPHAGVRD. If I'm honest, I fell in love with the ALPHAGVRD skins. They've got a massive selection, and quite honestly, they all look great. Ultimately, you can only put one on at a time, unless you've got multiple camera bodies, which I'm sure everyone's just got the 1 or 2. I'm going to keep it 100. They are expensive, straight up. I went through multiple routes of contacting people on eBay, loads of different sources on trying to just get it at a more affordable pricing. It doesn't help for me because I'm located in the UK, that ALPHAGVRD don't ship at reasonable pricing, and that basically just stopped me from making an order. Then, as you may have seen from the packaging at the start, I found KIWIFOTOS, or JJC, whatever you want to call them. They've got both names on the packaging, and they've got no social media presence by the looks of it, but they're definitely onto something and they're doing the right things. As you would have seen by now, I've been opening up the packaging. I was looking for a screen protector right at the start. Just to let you know, although it comes with the cleaning materials, it does not come with a screen protector, so you might want to buy one. I knew I had another one somewhere, but obviously I didn't have it for this video. What I would say is cool and a nice new addition is the tweezers. These plastic tweezers that they give you, they come in clutch, guys. Don't be like me, who didn't use them till much later into the video. Well, properly anyway. Use them off the get-go. They are very, very useful. Right, with all this spiel that I've been doing before we started, I've kind of missed out on the first couple, but I think we are in and around the hot shoe kind of mount area, which is only number 2. Number 1 was super hard, guys. I would definitely say start off trying to get the size right. Make sure that this is right before anything else, because like I said, probably the hardest one to do. That number 1 has a spare. You'll find that there are quite a few spares going through this whole process, so make sure you get it right. I'm not gonna lie, mine's not stuck on the way I would have liked it to have been. Fold over the front part where the Sony logo is, and then try and get the size to go over that. Certain ones are pretty easy, like number 3 and number 4, just right next to the eye cup. That's another thing, guys. Don't do what I'm doing right now. Remove your eye cup early, and your screen, your flip screen, I'd say flip it right in the middle and twist it. Those are pretty optimal positions. 5 and 6, once again, just under the eye cup. And I'll give you a little bit more chat about why I also use these skins. Protection comes first, in my opinion. The amount of scuffs and scratches your camera will get over time, this will definitely just help negate all of that. This is number 7 just here. Nice and easy, this one. It wasn't too hard. Just line it up with where the sensor line is. Number 8, these ones are quite tricky. Anything with buttons around it, this is where, of course, the tweezers are super important and super useful. So guys, the pricing is unreal. I believe I purchased mine for about £15. They've now got a few different selections in their lineup. This one looks like Black Mamba. I believe it's called Matrix or something of the sort. Now you've got like camo and something else that looks quite similar. Sorry, I was talking. I can't see what number we're on. I think we just went past 9. We're on the front, so that might be 10. I'm sure in this video I go too far at one point, but that's okay. It's pretty easy to all put together. It's not too tough. From a protection standpoint, it's definitely it's not gonna save it from being dunked in the water or anything crazy like that, but splashes and scratches and all that stuff, it's gonna do a good job. And if you ever sell it, you can rip them right off, get some alcoholic wipes and all that stuff and just wipe it down. It'll look as good as new. And on top of that, like I said, I really like the style personally. It's just, yeah, it seems to work right for me. Okay, so I think 10 was all a bunch of different ones, like for the buttons and along the front. Eleven is now kind of just by your dial, your front dial. Nice, quick, easy one to put on. Like I said, with the ones with the buttons, just kind of aim to get the button done first. Don't use your fingers like I did, although I've got quite narrow fingers. It was still quite difficult. Definitely picking that up with the tweezers will help you out 1,000,000%. Moving on to number 13. As you can see, rubbing it in, as I just mentioned, with the tweezers works out so well. That was number 14. Guys, this should take you about an hour and a half or so. So like, don't feel like because this is only 20 minutes that you have to rush. KIWIFOTOS, I must say, have put up their own tutorial on how to apply this, but if I'm honest, it's really short and it's non-specific, so that's another reason why I've made this. So hopefully you can go through it and pause it and stop it wherever you need to and just see how I've done things. They do recommend using a hairdryer. However, with my A7R4, I didn't use one and it was perfectly fine. And the same with this now. I've had it and been lazy in editing. I've had this on my A7 IV for a couple of months now and it's great. I've got no issues. So in my opinion, don't feel obliged to use a hairdryer. Sorry, went into number 15 there. Nice and easy. To be fair, that's an easy one. (16) is along the sides, I do believe, and they're pretty self-explanatory. There's no trickiness with these. That goes for 17, 18. Well, 18 is a little bit trickier because that's where you have to open up the doors, but we'll see that in a second. So let's talk about some downsides to using these skins. One is it takes an hour and a half of your time to do, and a little bit of frustration. Definitely have something to chill out to. You can see my music down at the bottom of the screen, and that's just a Sunday afternoon where I'm relaxing. I'd say the only downside to applying this is, of course, if you ever want to take it off, it's a little bit of a, well, I wouldn't know because I've not had to take one off, but I can imagine it would take a little while. One thing to watch out for is where you place the stickers over the battery slot. With my R4, it was definitely difficult to open up the battery slot fully. It kind of jams every now and again, not to the point where you can't open it, but it's just frustrating when you flick that button and it just doesn't pop out loose. Also, with my A7R4, I never put the skin along my grip section, so where my fingers were. I'm not too sure if they even offered that, because I know there are some extra, there is some extra skin on the A7 IV setup. Sorry guys, this is the part where I went back to 9, I believe, because I definitely skipped that. I thought I had 9 covered with some of the buttons and stuff like that, but I didn't see that on the instructions. 9 is the whole section. Once again, full of buttons. I think this one was a little bit tricky because you have to get it kind of like in between, as you can see on screen, you got to get it in between the dials, and the dial section with all the modes and in between where the hot shoe is, that's quite difficult. I would say get that bit in first if you can, or just use the tweezers to twist them in. But eventually it gets there. I think you've got a backup skin piece for that anyway. Make sure you get those tweezers in there once again, just to make sure it settles and sits right. Once again, I think this is all part of 9. There's a big load of it that I missed, but that's the rectifying for it. I'm sure you might have already seen this and you're just doing it. So either way, so yeah, we talked about the battery being a little bit of a pain, or for me anyway. I would recommend, if you are doing this and you're listening to me and you've not gone too far, it's just a little button one, that's not too much detail. I wouldn't do the grip. If I was doing this again, I think I just got a little bit happy because I had the option to do it and they sent it over to me. I wouldn't do the grip. So let me pause from what I'm saying and go back to 18, because we had to go back to 9. 18 is around this area, gets a little bit tricky, not too tricky. It's just the main screen bit, that's what you got to pay attention to. One more piece that gets sticky for me is the on and off switch. Now, this is a bit of a blessing and a curse, I'm not gonna lie. My first few weeks of having the A7 IV, I would constantly like leave it on. I don't know what it is about this camera. It doesn't happen as much with my R4, but I would constantly leave it on and the battery would just end up dead. It'd be overheating because I've left it in my bag and the screen closed and all that stuff. And I just find that when it's harder to turn on and off, you make a conscious decision of doing so. So it's not really a pro, it's not really a con. Well, it's more of a con, but it's a con that I don't mind. Now, this back screen one, do not do what I am doing right now, because it will just, yeah. Basically, can you see the bottom? How can I explain this? I'll try and put it on the screen. Can you see not the back of the screen, but the sides? I would start off with sticking one of the sides. You'll see in a second, I go for aiming it in the middle and getting it right in the middle and getting out all of the creases that are there. But as I fold down, I realize that it's not actually long enough, and I've gone and I've used the tweezers and all, and I'm trying to push it down and get it in line, and then I'm noticing, wait, it's not long enough. So I've not given it enough space, and at that point it was too late. I couldn't take it off really, and it was kind of overflowing or overlapping right at the bottom, and yeah, I messed it up. My immediate thought was to grab my little slicer knife because I couldn't get it off and just maybe take off a layer, but that just didn't work. These 3M sticky skins are built pretty well, so make sure you start off at that bottom bit, basically where I'm cutting. Start off there, stick it on, let it wrap all the way around, and then it should fit in line rather than starting off in the middle. Hope that helps. The rest of it was pretty easy and self-explanatory. It all kind of goes into place. There's not too much to worry about here. Here's where you want to flip your screen kind of to the side, as you can see what I'm doing, just to make it easier and so you can actually get into those slots. Here comes that battery slot that I was telling you about. There's not really, I felt like I did this really well, and there's not really anything you can do. Straight after doing it, I was opening it up and it seemed to be opening just fine. There were no issues, but give it a day or two and it will be clutching and pulling at it. Maybe I've just not applied it right, but it was definitely doing the same thing that my R4 was doing in relation to not opening as free and easy as what it is when you don't have it on. So I would say out of the whole cons region of having this, that is the biggest. Other than that, it's all pros. And I think this is the main squeeze. I think this is the main body. Once again, this isn't very hard. This bit wasn't too hard. I think I was a little bit off, but for the most part, it looks good. And it's protecting most of the camera, so that's all that matters. What is really nice about this material is that it's sticky, right? But you can pull it back off and it won't tear or, oh, that's another thing. You can kind of pull it too. So it's not, I mean, it fits the way that it's supposed to, but you can still pull it if you've made maybe a little mistake and you need to make up for a certain region. Or as you can see, there are some bubbles. I just grabbed the tweezers again and really pushed them out and tug at it in different places, and it just seems to just react to your hand movements. Another nice bit about that bottom piece is, of course, if you're screwing on, I've got loads of Peak Design V3 clips. It doesn't scratch out the bottom, and you know, once again, it keeps your camera in a nice pristine condition. If you ever sell it and they have a look at the body, the skin might be scratched, but underneath you're gonna have a fresh camera. Get the last few bits done, get the cap done, get the release done, and that is it. So overall, from a price point of £15 in comparison to just over 100 if you want to go the other route, it's a no-brainer. There is no loss of quality. Not to say that I can speak on any other manufacturers because I've only used these, but I mean, come on, I've had my A7R4 skin on there for what, two or so years, almost 2 years, and it's been great. It's not like you can't see any age where it's kind of like flapping off or anything like that. And in the 2 months of me having this skin on, it's the same thing, you know. It's been great. There's been no problems. Once again, I must stress this grip section, if I were to do it again, I definitely would not put the grips on. And yes, that will leave it then once again susceptible to wear and tear, and it won't look as fresh and new over time. But I just don't like the slippiness of the skin in those grippy parts, you know. I don't feel like the skin's material is the best for the grip, you know. One, for its safety, I feel like I'd be fine, but one, for its safety, and two, for just how nice it feels in the hands. It takes away from that, and I definitely got carried away with, oh, I just want to use everything rather than say what actually works for me. But I've not taken it off, so when it comes down to the facts, I guess it can't be that bad. Memory card slots are fine. I do not have any kind of jamming within them at all, so I'm really happy with that. Lastly, sorry I've forgotten about all the numbers, but lastly, just kind of keep going around that camera. Make sure that you're pulling out the tweezers. Are awesome addition. They definitely weren't in the first pack that I had with my A7R4, and this edition of them for the A7 IV is superb. So run all down the lines, make sure everything's folding on, stuck on properly, and you should have no problems. By the way, KIWIFOTOS do not even know, or JJC or whoever they are, do not even know that I'm making this. This is not affiliated in any way. I probably will be contacting them just to show them what a customer thinks of their product, but that's about it. I'm definitely a believer in it, and as you can see, it works well for me. I like the style, I like the look, and I think a lot of you guys will like it too, especially for the price point. Sorry guys, I've been terrible on speaking out the numbers, but as you've seen throughout the video, I've been leaving some number cues at the top. This is where I sign out. Love you and leave you. If you've got any questions, then please do let me know in the comments. Check the description below to see where I bought this from. They've got a multitude of different cameras that you can get these skins for. Upload a photo to Instagram, tag my Instagram account, use my hashtag so that I can see some of the skins that you've decided to put on yours. Subscribe for more future content, and if this video has been useful to you, hit the like button for me, and I'll speak to you on the next upload. Peace.